Do you guys remember high school English? Doesn't matter, 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. I had postprandial drowsiness. 10 minutes into the class, fast asleep. I could not keep my eyes open. Got 8 hours sleep. Folks, there's something called adrenal fatigue. There's also something called, right, fibromyalgia. The muscle fibers are firing on me and I feel horrible. All we know is we feel miserable when we have it. But I'm going to be discussing that in the opening of today's show. Dr. Lynn Jennings of Blast from Our Past is going to be talking about mold in your home. The cleanest homes in the world can have mold impregnating the wood in them, the wallboard, the carpets, etc. So she's going to talk about that. She said something interesting when I interviewed her. We Americans are so into a quick fix, right? Then Kyle Drew is coming by and he's going to talk about something a bit controversial, the ketogenic diet versus the Kaufman diet, okay? And then finally, pumpkin turkey chili. We all got pumpkins, we all got turkey, let's make chili. All that and more on today's Know the Cause. My name is Doug Kaufman. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. So there I was at the medical school out here in Fort Worth in front of a whole lot of people in white coats, right? And I was teaching on something that the world didn't know much about in the must have been 1980s or late 1980s. It was called fibromyalgia, right? And because the woman I had helped, or should I say the good doctor helped, was in the audience and worked at the medical school, there I was, teaching all these doctors a little bit about something they weren't even familiar with the name of it, fibromyalgia. The bottom line is often the adrenal glands sitting on top of the kidneys are physically exhausted. These people are very toxic. They don't look toxic. It's like mold growing in a home. It can be the cleanest home in the world, but it's got mold growing somewhere in it, so that home can be toxic. These are some of the best looking people in the world, but they hurt all the time. And they run from doctor to doctor to doctor to try and figure it out. So in addition to knowing that adrenal fatigue was a problem and recommending licorice root, deglycyrrhizinated, which is a component of the licorice, deglycyrrhizinated licorice root, I also asked Dr. Weekly, since we didn't know much about this, and this is where I specialized in, could we put her on a diet, a phase 1 diet? Could we put her on diflucan and nystatin for a couple of weeks? Above all else, let's do no harm, but let's see what role this plays. So we'd see these patients, and then in 2 weeks later, we'd have them come back in. She sat in our waiting room with a box of Kleenex. She was crying. 4 years, guys, I've had this. Now I have no pain, okay? So here's someone that wrote in, and we get quite a few of these inquiries. Here's someone that wrote in, I'm so excited for this new season of your show. I have had fibromyalgia for 15 years now. How I wish I would have met her 15 years ago. I think many things contributed to it. In 98, a bad reaction to a flu shot. Sorry, but I hear that often. I ended up in the emergency room, fibroid tumor surgery in 99 with infection, heavy-duty antibiotics, 2,000 back injury resulting in severe post-traumatic fibromyalgia. Thanks to your show, I was able to get off all the pain meds. Living with the pain is better than being a walking zombie. Most recent problems are extreme bone pain on top of muscle pain. High blood calcium levels, low cortisol levels, and D-dimer is off. Wondering if you have anything new to offer on fibromyalgia. I can tell you that with your history, right, the fibroids, with the back pain, and so forth, it looks like I know why the diet works so well. It looks like I know why watching me on TV has helped you so much. Because I think you may have a systemic mycosis also. A localized fungal infection is ringworm, right? Jock itch, toenail fungus. A systemic mycosis or systemic fungal condition is when the yeast or the fungus gets into the bloodstream. Now, today's doctors and infectious disease specialists would say that can't happen. That would never, ever happen. But what I want to do right now is go over a plan with you to include something else that you're probably not taking. Number one, you know the benefits of the program. You've been on our phase 1 diet, right? Stay on the phase 1, hang around the phase 2 diet. When fibromyalgia patients begin challenging the fruits or some of the flour tortillas, they get in trouble. They start hurting again. So you'll know what to do in that case. Here's what a clinic said: fibromyalgia and adrenal fatigue. Some of these symptoms sound similar to adrenal fatigue, some of the fibromyalgia symptoms. And people with fibromyalgia are likely to experience some degree of adrenal fatigue. The adrenal fatigue may either have preceded the fibromyalgia as a consequence of precipitating stress, think about that one, or developed as a result of stress that the fibromyalgia has caused. This is a great website, adrenalfatigue.org. Licorice root. Okay, many studies are published on the benefits of taking this supplement for fatigue, but you have to be careful. As I say in the bottom here, an herbalist or nutritional doctor can assist you in using licorice root, but sometimes, folks, using licorice root can cause a little bit of hypertension. So your blood pressure starts going up. Well, so many people with fibromyalgia already have hypertension, already have high blood pressure. Go easy with licorice root, okay? Licorice root, interestingly, but not surprisingly to me, has really good antifungal properties, leading me to wonder if the adrenal fatigue, the fibromyalgia, etc., might be linked to fungus. The bottom line is you're doing so much better. Folks, when you go on our phase 1 diet for a month, that doesn't cure anything, but you might feel so much better. Then you tend to go off it again. Why'd you do that? Because maybe 2 months would have the symptoms even less and less and less. Add a few supplements, and I think you know where I'm going with this. Maybe you can isolate the etiology or know the cause. You're looking at my dear friend of 13, 14 years, Dr. Lynn Jennings, who honored us, came by the studio here today in Texas. She has a little break in her schedule, so she came by to talk to us a little bit. Preventive medicine. We don't go to a doctor when we aren't sick, but we all want to prevent tickerology. You know, you don't want to go to a tickerologist because your heart's beating out of its chamber. You don't want to go into a psychiatrist because you're so depressed. You want to prevent these disorders from occurring. And yet, when people come see you, they're sick. Mm-hmm. And so what you have to do, Dr. Jennings, is intervene, okay, for this huge swollen knee or back pain. Take some anti-inflammatories, some steroids, and it's magic. In 3 or 4 days, they feel great, and they tend to put all of their investment into that steroid or something like that. You could also teach them, this is a rare physician that she knows both sides of the story here. You could also teach them, now I want you to change your diet. I want you to take a pineapple extract, right, bromelain that has anti-inflammatory properties. I want you, for pain, to drink noni juice, something like that. And then I want you to come back and follow this diet, come back and see me in 2 weeks. Are we in the public sector too much in a hurry? We've watched the drug ads on TV. Boy, we want relief immediately. We'll take those steroids without regard to what it's doing to our liver or our bodies. Would most people opt for option 2? Okay, I'll take a month. I'll change my diet. I'll go on your herbs and so forth. Because you've treated both patients, what would most patients want?
Most patients want the quick fix.
They do.
They do. That's not, and you know, and to be honest, I mean, be honest with you, I will, if that's what they want, I will give it to them.
Exactly.
But I have also explained to them, you know, I will give you a steroid. I will give you a shot of steroid today. But I will tell you, it's not going to really help anything. All it does is cover up what's really going on. So, and they're always surprised. They're always surprised, but they take the shot.
Are there 2 options or 3? Because I'm thinking as you're saying that. The third option is, look, this sucker hurts. I didn't sleep last night. Give me the shot, and then I'll start your program.
Yes.
So if I can have 3 or 4 days of relief and then start an antifungal program, that really makes sense. I know doctors don't, but do people who aren't doctors understand the importance, these are patients you're seeing, of diet, or are we so re-socialized to listen to a doctor who says diet doesn't make any difference in your disease that we're trusting them?
I think that people are trusting them. Okay. I have a certain percentage of patients that come in that are very cognizant of these things, and they study everything, and they get news articles, and of course they watch your show, and they seem to know what's going on. But that is a very small percentage out there, because that's not, if you don't, as a patient, if you don't realize there's another option. And that's really what the problem is. People, they go to their doctors and they expect to be treated, and they want. And the American public is, God love them, you know, they want what they want. They want it now. They want the best. and so...
to complicate matters, Dr. Jennings, what we've given all Americans is Obamacare. We've given them a get-out-of-jail-free card. Now you can go to any doctor at any time, pay a small copay, hopefully, and get out of jail free. He'll give you a shot, he'll give you a pill, etc. I saw that coming, and that scares me, because I no longer have to be responsible. I have a card, get out of jail free card. I can go to any doctor for a sniffly nose, etc. But if you folks only knew, and many of you do, you saw patients change their diet and begin following our phase 1 diet, which is an antifungal diet. You saw some drama, you know, back in the day. And I know the past 3 years you've been practicing kind of traditional medicine. Prior to that, you were alternative. So good for you wanting to see what both camps were like. Diet tended to work for those, the antifungal diet. But you really like the preventive, you really like the let's try an antifungal approach, because it worked also.
Right. Oh, I do. I believe that I believe in it totally. I do. And I think it would, I think that if we were able to get away from the traditional way we treat health in this country, and we start looking at it as preventative. And we have a lot of lip service to preventative, but they're, you know, but it's not out there, because that's not the way the healthcare system's geared.
The fun thing is, we're unique to our thumbprint, and we can all decide on our own. If you wake up in the morning and there's blood on the pillow, get to a doctor, okay? And then ask the doctor if he can fix that, and then maybe consider helping you change your lifestyle, like Dr. Jennings did for so many of her patients. Thank you for coming in today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh boy, 2 good back-to-back segments you're going to love. Number 1, dried apricots. Used to love them, but they're vulnerable to mold growth. Nurse Jenny Herbacek said there's another reason to avoid dried fruit. And then Kyle's going to be here, a controversial topic, right? The ketogenic diet. Watch these.
Hi, I'm Jenny Herbacek with the Cancer Connection. In an effort to have an antifungal, anti-cancer lifestyle, we need to examine some of the things in our diet that we think of as healthy. For instance, we think of dried fruit as a healthy, fiber-filled snack or salad topping. But in many cases, it might as well be candy. Just 1/4 cup of dried cranberries can have as much sugar as 29 grams. A single handful can put you over your daily limit of added sugars. On the other hand, a full cup of fresh cranberries can have just 4 grams of natural sugar. And an ounce of raisins has about as much sugar as 6 Oreo cookies. So think twice about those trail mixes loaded with the dried fruit. For Know the Cause, I'm Jenny Herbacek.
Kyle's here with me right now. Folks, I worked at Medical City, Dallas with Dr. David Weekley, 1987 for several years. And a patient came in who had a daughter who had seizures, and she introduced me to a diet called the ketogenic diet. That was before computers, 87. You know, I probably went to a library, as a matter of fact I did, and looked up ketogenic diet. Sure enough, out of Mayo, there's a big hospital developed this diet because pills, they didn't have anti-seizure pills back then in the 1950s and 60s. So they had a diet that worked really, really well, the ketogenic diet. There are many people now popularizing all of these diets, from the paleo diet to the Kaufman diet to the keto diet. And so Kyle has experimented with all of them. And I thought it'd be good, because we had a question about this, if Kyle expounded a little bit on what he's learned about these diets, okay? Janice says, I started the nutritional ketogenic. So it went from the ketogenic diet to the nutritional ketogenic diet because the author says that cancer cells can't use ketones and they starve cancer. The phase 1 diet, which is now the Kaufman diet, seems very similar. I had to drop a few more foods to get to the phase 1 or the Kaufman diet. I'm just interested to know your thoughts on the NK, it's called.
Yeah, let me just say that we took out the name of the author and the book that Janice was referring to, and it's because I've spoken to this man, I've read this book, I know that book intimately and the ketogenic diet intimately, and I am telling you my opinion is that this is not a long-term lifestyle diet at all. The reason that you and everybody associates this with the Kaufman diet is because it's fat-friendly, right?
Grain-free.
It's grain-free. But that's where it tends to end. The ketogenic diet and all of those who promote it, including Janice, the author of the book that you said, they all have so much misinformation that it is downright dangerous. For example, you said that the author says that cancer cells cannot survive on ketones. I have 8 papers here that say that ketones drive tumor growth. Here's another one that says ketones increase cancer cell recurrence and metastasis. That means the spread of cancer, and 6 others that are all saying the same thing, and I could have brought a dozen more. The fact is that there is this myth out there that ketones are so angry to cancer, and that cancer is so averse to using ketones, and I'm telling you, ketones can fuel cancer growth. This is a shock to everybody who has ever read anything about the ketogenic diet, and there's a lot of proponents of the ketogenic diet from people in the paleo world whose diet does not get you into ketosis. It's so strange how weird this is. I did the ketogenic diet for 16 months, and I'm going to tell you, it is the worst thing that has ever happened to me. The worst thing that has ever happened to me.
What happened?
In addition to all of the other things that we know about staying in ketosis, it's great as a short-term option, but to stay on it, you actually can go into an insulin insensitivity that is just like diabetes. People are starting to call it keto diabetes. You become insensitive to sugar, and at some point, whenever you start having blueberries again, strawberries again, broccoli again, anything more than 20 grams of carbohydrates, your body does not know how to handle it, and you can blow up. I gained a lot of weight, you guys, being on the ketogenic diet, not while I was on it, but after I got off of it and went back to Kaufman antifungal diet, because the Kaufman diet has blueberries, it has citrus fruits, it has vegetables in abundance, no grains, but I just went back to the diet that's always worked, and I gotta tell you, it was a disaster when I came back to the diet.
Robert Adkins was a friend of mine, right? And he talked about ketosis, driving a patient into ketosis. And back in the 70s, when I knew him, it was something that wasn't major. I think what you're talking about is living a forever lifestyle in ketosis versus things like the paleo and the Kaufman diet that you can live.
That's exactly right.
When I put the Kaufman diet together in the 70s, that's what I had in mind. I don't want a diet that's going to be good at starving fungus for 2 months. So I so appreciate your consideration and all your thoughts on this and bringing us some solid science. And I'm going to let you talk a little bit more on it in another segment on No Cause. I know you're very passionate about it.
Sounds great.
Good. I hope that helps you folks. And Janice, I hope that answers your question. Okay, now we've all got turkey. And we've all got pumpkin at home, right? And we all know what chili is. Okay, now stand by. We're going to show you how to make this incredible dish. You're going to love this because today we're making pumpkin turkey chili using a slow cooker. You know, the colder it gets outside, the better this ought to taste. Here are the ingredients that you're going to need. 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and you can divide that. But remember, you can use macadamia nut oil, you can use coconut oil, really good oils. 1 cup of diced onions. half a cup of organic green bell peppers, and you dice those. And then a half a cup of organic yellow bell peppers, again, diced. A clove of organic garlic, mince it. 1 pound of organic lean ground turkey. 1 can, 14 to 15 ounces of diced tomatoes. 2 cups of pumpkin. Now next, let's pour in 3 cups of organic chicken broth. Then add a tablespoon and a half of chili powder, sea salt and pepper to taste. You will need some sour cream and cilantro, get organic cilantro, and garnish with these. Okay, let's get started. Heat the olive oil or whatever oil you're going to use in a skillet, about a tablespoon of it in a skillet, and we will saute the onion, peppers, and garlic over medium heat until they are tender. Remove the skillet and set it aside. Add remaining 2 tablespoons of the oil, olive oil we used, to skillet, and cook ground turkey until cooked thoroughly. When it's done, drain the excess fat. Next, let's put the meat and sauteed vegetables in the slow cooker. Add tomatoes and then the pumpkin. Add the chicken broth. Then add the chili powder. And finally, add the salt and pepper and stir it thoroughly. Now let's cover it and cook it. Low for 3 to 4 hours or higher temps for 2 to 3 hours. When it's all finished and looking beautiful, you can even make it more beautiful. Garnish with a little bit of sour cream and cilantro. As the days get colder, let's all enjoy the pumpkin turkey chili. This and a lot of other recipes can all be found on knowthecause.com.
Did you know that you can heal yourself of the majority of back pain? Well, I'm going to teach you a few exercises that are going to help you to feel young again, to feel vibrant, to feel alive, and to eliminate any malaise. But it starts with posture. Shoulder blades low, number 1. Shoulder blades together, number 2. Buns holding an imaginary credit card, number 3. This is it. This is perfect posture, friends. Side view, front view. The most important exercise you can ever do in the morning is going to be right here. It's called a skydiver. Onto the floor. Reach with your palms towards your heels. Toes in tight, chin in tight. This is lower back and buns. I know that none of the female viewers out there want tighter buns, so you really shouldn't ever do this exercise if you want tighter buns at all. Chin is tight. Back of the head to the sky, heels to the sky. If you've ever experienced back pain, you know that it's the worst possible pain ever. So if you were to go ahead and execute this exercise with perfect, impeccable posture, you will be on the road to recovery and you'll feel like you're 18 again. Thanks for checking us out. Know the cause.
Friends, I hope you enjoyed the show half as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. Seeing old friends again, like Dr. Lynn Jennings, what a joy. Kyle, what a joy. Folks, understand, many years ago I worked at one of the big hospitals, maybe 30 years ago now, and a woman came in and said, I'm in such pain, my arms, my back, my hips, then my knees, and it rotates. It isn't always just in this one place. I ended up helping her with antifungals and my diet, the Kaufman diet. And she was in a position, she worked at the medical school out here in Fort Worth, and she was in a position to get me in front of a whole lot of doctors and begin teaching that I thought there was a fungal cause to many cases of fibromyalgia. So we'll share some of that with you on the show as often as we can. This is an educational forum. We like to educate you, leaving you more knowledgeable and empowering you. When you walk into a doctor's office, you've already got some answers. Thank you for joining us today. God bless you. We'll see you next time.